Hey everyone, Dankman here. We're going to start something brand new today. The topic is about basically multiplication and division. And the name of the topic, I'm going to call it factors and multiples. And it's about multiplication and division, and it's also about what numbers are made of. Okay, it's about what numbers are made of. And it is Thursday. And it's March 10. Nope. 12, 2020. So let's start with the word factor. Factors are numbers that other numbers are made of. So let me show you what a factor is. Okay? So in English class and in regular life, the word factor means it was contributing. So like, that was a factor in my decision means that factor contributed to my decision. And in math, it's kind of similar. Actually, factors are just any numbers that get multiplied together. So it's a piece of a multiplication problem. That's what a factor is, in one way of looking at it. So for instance, this multiplication problem, 2 times 3, has two factors. One factor is the number 2, the other factor is the number 3, and the product, what you get out, is the number 6. So any two or more pieces of a multiplication problem are factors. But we're going to talk about factors in another way as well. Okay? We're going to talk about how whenever you look at a number, like for instance the number 12, there are factors that make it up. You can basically split the number 12 up into a multiplication problem. For instance, you know 12 is 4 times 3, so you can identify that the factors 4 and 3 make 12. So 4 and 3 are factors in 12. You could also split the number 12 up into 6 times 2. Okay? And another way to split the number 12 up would be to split the number 12 up into, say, 4 times 3, and then to take the number 4 and ask what are the factors inside of 4, and recognize that that's 2 times 2, and then ask are there any factors in the number 3, and be like, wait, there are no other factors in the number 3 except for 3 itself and the number 1, and then be like, okay, let's take a look. I could split the number 12 up into 2 times 2, which is that 4 we saw, times 3. So you could also split the number 12 up into 3 different factors. Okay? Or you could think of it as 2 times the factor 2 times 3, which is 6. So these are all just different ways to take the number 12 and basically split it up and see what it's made of in terms of multiplication. It's sort of like the number 12 has inside of it these 3 parts, 2 2s and a 3. And when you multiply those together, you get out the number 12. And it's really important and special because there's no other number in the world that can be broken down into 2 and 2 and 3. And there's no other numbers besides 2 and 3 that go into the number 12 as factors. And we actually call this 2 times 2 times 3 the prime factorization of 12, which we'll talk about more in a little bit. Before I talk about prime factorization, I just want to define the other word that's important here, which is multiples. Now, if factors are numbers that are multiplied together, okay, then multiples are a little bit like the reverse of that, okay? And I might just introduce the idea of a multiple with an example, and later we can get to the formal definition. So if I take the number 3, okay, then I'm going to say that multiples of 3 are numbers that 3 divides into evenly. Okay, that means no remainder. Examples of the multiples of 3 are 6, 9, 12, and there are other multiples of 3, like 39 or 102, okay? And there are infinitely many multiples of 3, all right? And all of these numbers, like the number 12, for instance, have 3 as a factor in it, okay? So one way to think about multiples is any multiple of 3 can have 3 in it as a factor. And so those are the two things we're looking at. Factors, which are the pieces numbers are made of, numbers that can multiply together to make up a number, and then multiples, which have factors inside of them, okay? And I think I'll make a separate video to talk about how to do prime factorization and what prime numbers versus composite numbers are, which we've already talked about, especially in our readings from the curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. Thanks.